I want to talk really quickly about a photo posted on TikTok that's going viral of a young Marine who apparently claims he's being deployed to LA. This photo, when I opened up TikTok this morning, this was the first thing that I saw. And you can see at the bottom, he was immediately getting ratioed. So he says, I hope the protesters realize Marines don't play games, especially the ones from the 29. Okay, my dude, can you even like grow a mustache yet? What are you, like a $110? I want to say something here. I am an Air Force brat. My dad spent 30 years in the Air Force. He was deployed multiple places, including Croatia. But obviously, like, I've never served in the military. And so I really appreciated something that Knitting Cult Lady was explaining. I think it was yesterday. Service members who have been put on federal property in Los Angeles or wherever they are placed around the country. She was careful to say those folks are not deployed. They are on federal property. They're just being moved around from federal property to federal property. But that's not actually a deployment. But the important thing that she was saying that I was unaware of, and if you don't know who Knitting Cult Lady is, she's an expert on cults and a former Army intelligence officer. She was saying that when members of the armed forces are placed around the country like that, where they're going to interact with civilians, that they don't have ammo in their weapons, because the risk is just too high. And it would be a crime for them to fire on American citizens. Like, it would be a real bad scene. And that the military doesn't want to have another Kent State. And so she was saying when members of the armed forces are positioned like that, they don't have any ammunition in their weapons. So that's from an expert, not from me. I thought that was interesting. So let's just look at this little chipmunk here and what some of the folks were saying in his comments. Because remember, he said, I hope the protesters realize Marines don't play, especially the ones from the 29. First comment with 11,000 likes, and it's got way more than that now. That sounds like a threat against U.S. citizens. Next quote, back in my Corps, we didn't get off on the idea of hurting the very people and ideas we swore an oath to protect, but I guess things have changed. Next comment, I hope you realize I was just following orders was rejected as a defense in the Nuremberg trials. Next comment, this threat goes against DoD Directive 1344.10 and the UCMJ Article 117 and 92. And then this one, oh, hi, so I saved this for your court-martial case. Hope that helps. Completely agree with this person. The comments pass the vibe check. There's hundreds and hundreds of comments. Probably thousands. At the time I looked at this, it had 11,000 comments, and it's gotten a ton more traction since then. And they are overwhelmingly like, hey, little dude, you swore an oath to the Constitution. Why are you making vague threats on TikTok about the people you have sworn to protect and serve? What are you doing? I like this one. I'm calling her high school J-Rotzy. Man, when I was in the Marines, I didn't think I ever would have thought about threatening U.S. civilians. Then again, I actually care about people. Loads of the comments were like this, a Marine threatening U.S. citizens on a public TikTok, followed by lots and lots of follow-up comments of people saying, oh yeah, I already sent this in to his commanding officer, or I already sent this in to the place where he's stationed. I already sent this in to 29 Palms. So this person's comment actually elicited a response from the creator. You joined to go against Americans? To which Evan replied, no, I joined to protect my country from foreign and domestic enemies that try trashing it. Oh snap. Hey Evan, where were you on January 6th? I mean, he was probably in 9th grade, y'all. But actually, this little dude's comment is quite concerning to me. He's clearly made up his mind that American citizens are domestic enemies, that people exercising their protected First Amendment rights are domestic enemies trying to trash the country. That is deeply, deeply concerning. But since we have to find a little levity, I like this one. Hope Compton doesn't see this. Sure hope they do. So I don't know what y'all think of that. I'm encouraged by all of the replies, actually. I also would just like to remind folks here that our armed forces really prey on people who are socioeconomically disadvantaged. They absolutely recruit from folks in poverty, folks who are uneducated, folks who definitely cannot afford college. And we know that statistically that the group that is most likely to have voted for Donald Trump is white men who are not college educated. So in some ways, I'm not surprised to see this from a Gen Z white Marine. I'm deeply disappointed. Anyone who posts shit like that has no business handling a firearm and standing in front of his fellow countrymen and women. I sure hope to God that they took the ammo out of his gun. I actually hope that his superior officers have seen this. And I actually think it's a good idea for all of us to be reminding every service member of their oath to the Constitution, their obligation to the American people. No matter how brainwashed for Trump they have been, I really appreciate all of the veterans online, especially who are constantly urging folks who are active duty right now to remember their oath, to stand up for the American people and the rule of law. reminding them what it actually means when it says all enemies, foreign and domestic. That doesn't mean regular, decent, everyday Americans who are out exercising their constitutional right to protest. That's not what that means. It does mean domestic enemies who are attempting to engage in an authoritarian takeover, who are trying to carry out a coup in the United States, who are repeatedly violating the Constitution, trying to strip Americans of their rights and implement a reign of terror.